Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today I am joined by my sister-in-law Mercy.
Hi.
And we are doing kind of a different vlog for this channel, kind of a interview type podcast style vlog. So you could even set the phone down and just listen to this if you didn't want to watch our beautiful, somewhat awkward faces during this interview while we talk to each other. So basically I'm going to chat with Mercy a little bit about a story that we have been talking about sharing for
like 3 years.
Like 3 years now, because it is about my beautiful niece who will be turning 3 in just a couple weeks, right? Mm-hmm. This is Katie's story, and I'm just gonna jump right into it and talk to Mercy about it. November 2015, we are both pregnant. We're coming up on that 20-week ultrasound, and it's your 20-week ultrasound. So let's just start there in the story, and you can tell us about your 20-week ultrasound experience.
So I was going into that appointment expecting to find out if it was a boy or a girl. We go in, the first thing that I noticed on the image that the baby looked really squished and just kind of like curled up in a ball. There wasn't really like anything around the baby. So I mentioned it to the ultrasound technician, and she kind of just said, oh, you know, and yeah, and didn't really say anything else.
Yeah, they can never say anything, right?
I know,
yeah,
it kills.
Tell me something.
Yeah. Normally they're able to tell you if it's a boy or a girl. Mm-hmm. She couldn't even tell me that just because she was so squished. Long story short, the doctor comes in. I could tell something was wrong right away. He said, there's 3 problems, there's 3 things. There's a choroid cyst, so a cyst on the brain, and there's a 2-vessel cord, and very, very low fluid. And he said all these three things alone aren't really much of a concern, aren't really much of a marker for anything, but all 3 together point to Down syndrome or another genetic abnormality. So I went to the Blessed Sacrament Chapel and just poured my heart out and told God how worried I was, and just told him I was just going to trust him in this because I didn't know what was going to happen. And at that moment, though, just totally gave that baby to God and just knew either way, this isn't my baby, this is his baby.
With actually both of my girls only. My boy ultrasounds have been like, oh, it's a boy, and then they don't call me and say anything. But with both of my girls, there's been like a marker or something that you have to go back for, yeah. You know. And so it doesn't make it any like, oh, you know, like I don't love this baby because something's wrong. No. It's just like this scary, anytime, like if you have children, something's wrong with your child, they're sick, you want to know how to help, you want to know
exactly.
how to fix it. Exactly.
Yeah. We love this baby no matter what. Down syndrome, any genetic abnormality, we wanted this baby.
So you had to go back for an ultrasound 2 days later. So tell us about the, how do you say that, doctor?
Perinatologist.
Perinatologist appointment.
So,
tell us about that ultrasound.
So 2 days later, we go to this ultrasound, and the first thing they said was, "You've been referred for a choroid cyst, and there is no cyst. There is a 2-vessel cord, and there's really, really low fluid, like as close to 0 without being 0." And that was obviously a big concern because the baby would need fluid to practice breathing and move and kick around, so build all those little muscles and grow.
And how many weeks were you?
I was only 20 weeks.
Okay.
The only reason they would even do anything at 24 weeks, they only wanted to check at 24 weeks, was because at this point they were thinking that the baby wasn't going to make it. And at 24 weeks, they can do something about it. At 24 weeks, the baby's viable.
And so at 20 weeks, they were thinking, like, they didn't suggest bed rest or anything?
Nope, they didn't suggest bed rest. My mother-in-law put me on bed rest. And thank God she did. But yeah, they didn't suggest anything. They just thought, you know, either you're going to have this baby or this baby's going to die in the womb. And because of the no fluid. And 22 weeks, Chris was getting ready for work. I got up and I thought my water broke. Yeah. And so I said, we need to go to the hospital. I kind of think my water broke. And so we got right in the car and went straight to the hospital and to their labor and delivery. And they brought us back, and the first doctor that we saw was an OB, and he said, well, you're only 22 weeks, so if your water did break today, we offer you the option to induce labor. Just like that, like just bluntly like that. And we were just like blown away, totally shocked, like was not expecting that at all. Like I was going there for help, you know, like thinking, oh my goodness, what are they gonna do?
When you go and you're in labor early, they're like, how can we stop this?
Yeah.
You know, like, how can we save this baby?
It was clear that because we weren't at 24 weeks yet and that she was only 22 weeks old, they weren't going to resuscitate her or even attempt to save her at all because she wasn't 24 weeks yet. She wasn't at the week of viability.
This baby. And so when they suggested we'll induce, were they like, and then this baby will go to the NICU, or what did they say?
No, it was terminate the pregnancy. You know,
and that's what they meant by induce.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then after that, we, you know, well, once he asked, we said, you know, no, that's not, you know, that's not an option for us. We love this baby, we want to keep this baby, and
give that baby a fighting chance.
Yes. Yeah. And he just said, okay, and then walked out. And I never saw that doctor again. They moved us to another room and hooked me up to the monitors, and her heart was beating, and still didn't know if it was a boy or a girl, but her heart was beating, and everything looked fine. They did an ultrasound, again, confirmed that there's hardly any fluid. They did a couple other tests to confirm if my water broke, and they all came back negative. Another perinatologist comes in and said, you know, your fluid is extremely, extremely low. If this baby even does make it, you know, is born, if this baby's born today, the chances of this baby making it are very, very low. And if this baby, you know, does make it, then this baby's lungs are not going to be ready for the outside world. This baby's not going to be able to breathe, could have heart defects, and they just couldn't see a lot of things. So then they were worried about her kidneys and thinking, you know, maybe there's something wrong with the kidneys. So they started saying other syndromes and different things that they thought could be wrong causing the low fluid. And then they kept saying, you know, this kind of baby ready for this world isn't going to be an easy baby. Basically, you know, saying things that she's going to be on ventilators, she's going to be, you know, a vegetable. And
they said at one point that the low fluid, she wouldn't walk, and
all sorts of problems. And they kept offering to abort it. They kept throwing out numbers, percentages, and skewed. It was like the numbers were like, you know, 75% of babies with this low fluid don't make it or can't breathe, or, you know, and then we were thinking about it later, and it's like, well, that means 25% of them are fine. That's a big, I mean, that's a big percentage, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kept pushing and kept asking, urging us to abort, urging us to induce labor, and politely declining and saying, you know, no, that's not an option for us. We want to give this baby a chance, and we'll worry about what this baby needs when this baby comes, and we understand that we might not get to keep this baby, but that's a risk we're willing to take.
Yeah, and it's not up to you. Yeah, it's
no, exactly.
in God's hands.
Yeah, even after saying all of that, they kept saying, well, do you really understand the risks to you? She even said that if my water was broken, then I could develop an infection, and then I'll have to have an emergency C-section, and then I could lose the baby and have to recover from a surgery. And it was just like, you know, that's not my biggest concern here. Like, I'm not really worried about recovering from a surgery. And at the end of it, she even said, well, maybe we should have a neonatologist come down and talk to you and make sure you really understand what you're getting into.
Basically, they threw out numbers, and they were trying to portray that this baby had no chance. So when you're at the doctor's office and you hear there's a 75% chance this baby is not going to walk, this baby's going to not be able to breathe, this baby's going to have a heart defect, you don't think of the 25%.
Yeah.
Any person thinks, that's me, that baby, that's my baby, has that problem, you know? And the fact of the matter is they can't know 100% ever. So anytime they say 99%, there's a 1% chance that you know, everything's fine. I don't think I've ever even sat down and talked with you about the whole process of it. So it's interesting even for me to hear, because, and especially knowing Katie, because I just can't believe that's the same baby that they were talking about. Okay, so after these appointments, you know, you put yourself on bed rest. Basically, you left them and they basically told you, did they say don't come back until 24 weeks or we won't admit you, or?
Yeah, they said we won't admit you until you're 24 weeks because 24 weeks is when the baby's viable, when the baby can survive. They said call us if you come back if you go into labor.
Okay.
Is what they said. So they were expecting me to go into labor, even though they couldn't confirm if my water had broken, even though they couldn't confirm anything. They didn't really know what was going on.
It's kind of like when, you know, I wasn't in labor and I was supposed to come back the next week and I almost had the baby in the car.
Yeah, they really just don't know what's going on.
There are some great doctors out there, but don't put all your hope in, you know, just a person. People aren't perfect, so.
Well, and so there are some great doctors out there, because
the next part of the story, exactly.
On the way home from that horrible experience, it was just a dark experience. Like there was no other way to describe it. And it just broke my heart because I was thinking about, I never knew, like I never knew that was there. You know, I knew there would be people who go in with that intention, but I never.
But you didn't know it was so easily to sway someone that doesn't have the strong foundation, doesn't have the support system.
No, because you trust your doctor. You feel like you should be able to trust your doctor, and that they know more than you know. Honestly, after that experience, all those numbers are so skewed because a lot of those babies don't get to make it.
They don't have the chance to be part of the 25% or more percent.
No, and so all the numbers are off.
So the next part of your story is you did find a great doctor.
Part, yes. So we're on our way home, and praise God, we know someone who has a dad who's amazing, an amazing doctor, and so we called him and we told him everything they told us at that appointment, and he said, "Oh, that's crap." And he just and so he just
like it is.
No, he just
it's a great way to describe what we just discussed.
Yes. So he said, "You need to come see me," and so we did. I made an appointment to see him, and that was another miracle because I was now pregnant and a high-risk pregnancy, and I had to change medical groups. I had to change everything, and it all went through. Yeah. So it was a total miracle. But I did, and I ended up seeing him.
And that hospital couldn't admit till 24 weeks also, right?
They wouldn't admit you.
Yeah. It's a standard thing.
Yeah, I was admitted the next day. So December 19th, I went into the hospital, and they actually still hadn't confirmed if my water had broken. They hadn't confirmed anything. When he did the ultrasound, that doctor did the ultrasound the day before, he said, "There's some fluid, there's some in there," and but still couldn't confirm if my water had broken. And there's a 2-vessel cord, but it didn't seem, he was saying that that's okay. A lot of pregnancies have a 2-vessel cord, but it doesn't matter because it's just a 2-vessel cord. Sometimes there's 2 vessels, sometimes there's 3, and they're supposed to be 3. Really nervous about being admitted because we didn't know how long I was going to be there. I had 3 other kids at home. I had, one who had just started kindergarten, she was 5, and then I had a 3-year-old, and then Christopher was like 18 months, and it was gonna kill me to be away from them. They couldn't stay there, and I just felt like, should I really be doing this? Can I just be doing bed rest at home? Can I just stay at home and do this? And I just remember struggling and like talking to God through the whole thing, and they tested to confirm if my water had broken, and yep, my water had broken. And so that was like, okay, confirmation, I need to be here. They can't send you home if your water's broken. Another miracle that I didn't develop an infection that whole month, and they always say like that, once your water breaks, you have to have the baby right then. Well,
not true.
No,
not always true. And God is bigger than all of it. You were admitted, and then obviously there were ups and downs in the hospital of
literal ups and downs. Every day was a victory, and that was all. I didn't think too far ahead with it. I really took one day at a time, because I knew that if I thought too far ahead, I did think really far ahead in the beginning. Thinking about all the different things, because we didn't know where it was going. I am not in control of any of this. I am not in control of whatever you want to call it, whatever syndrome, that it's just going to be what it is. And God's in control of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and you don't have to have all the answers of what everything will look like, because you will just take it one day at a time.
One day at a time.
Which is funny, because I could say that today, and then tomorrow I will be thinking about something that I need to remind myself again to take it one day at a time. So, but what week was she actually born? Did she go straight to the NICU? What, did she come out and need oxygen, all of that? So tell us a little bit about that.
She was born at 31 weeks and 2 days, so stayed pregnant a long time considering my water was broken. I had been hooked up on continuous monitoring, so they monitored contractions and her heartbeat the entire time I was there. The night that she needed to be born, I was actually watching American Idol with my mom. All of a sudden, her heart rate just went really, really low. Just doom, 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 doom. Like really slow. Babies' heart rates, are just super fast, and went really slow and stayed low. And my nurse rushed in and put oxygen on. Oh, maybe we should turn you, trying to be all calm about it. But I was like, I knew this is, I knew this was it. And no sign. I had no contractions, no anything, just her heart rate. Within seconds, I was in the OR. But she was born blue and floppy, so not breathing or anything. And so the second she was born, they brought her into the next room where they had a whole NICU team set up. Like, there was everybody that needed to be there for her. Every specialist, every NICU specialist you can think of was in that room for her. And they had to intubate her immediately, and she was on actually the highest ventilation that she could possibly need. It's the oscillator, shakes the CO2 out of their lungs. She weaned off of it within 48 hours and went straight to room air, and doctors said they'd never seen anything like it. There were those lungs hard at work. Yeah. She was breathing just fine. Yes, and she uses them really well now.
She does. She's a feisty little one.
So she did have to go back, back on oxygen through a nasal cannula here and there, and it was a journey going through the NICU. It was a world like I'd never seen before. But miracles happen there, and babies grow, and the tiniest little babies, way tinier than her, but they make it, and there's a lot of them walking around, and you would never even know.
Yeah, well, fast forward to Katie. No. You would never know, looking at her, that she had any of those diagnoses, or any of those that anyone thought that was going to happen, because she really is perfect little.
Yeah. She's super smart and super silly and just
talkative, singer, likes to sing a lot.
Yeah. Uses those
very
songs.
Good singer too.
Yeah. No, there's so many different times that I think that oh my gosh, I can't believe that they were so easily willing to end her life. And I just praise God that we knew that, and that we believed that, because
or else you might not have Katie. Katie might not be here.
Yeah.
And it's so much bigger than just do I get to hold this baby and love this baby, because that baby is their own person and is going to change the world in their own way. And so that's all those babies that don't have that chance because of these statistics and these percentages that are thrown at them. It's they don't have that chance. And how many are there, and so
countless. The crazy thing about the NICU stay is about the NICU is that all those nurses and all those doctors, if you were to bring them the baby that needed those needs, they would care for that baby.
Even if Katie had been born with everything that they said. So this, Katie's story is a miracle. She didn't have any of those things, but had she would still be Katie. Even
once we left the NICU, Katie was a different baby, bringing home a different baby, because she was a preemie. As she was growing, her age was a little adjusted because of being 2 months premature. So she wasn't doing everything at the rate she should have been. Had an early interventionist come in, and they would come in once a week and just play with her and play on her tummy, and it was such a blessing even meeting that person, thinking about all the different people that came into our life. That interventionalist, she had a story, she had a story about her son, and I don't know, it's all the people that Katie brought in our life too by just being Katie.
Yeah. Katie's story is a miracle and is so personal to us, to you, but every baby has a story.
Yeah.
And every baby deserves to have that story lived out however it happened. Thank you, Mercy, for sharing Katie's story with us, a little bit of Katie's story. And in light of the March for Life that just happened, we thought it would be a great way to end Katie's story by sharing what Chris, my brother, Mercy's husband, Katie's daddy, shared at her first birthday. So we're just going to cut to that clip right now.
So we're going to pray in just a minute. Before we get started, Mercy and I just wanted to really say thank you for being here today, but really for being here with us for the last year when Katie's journey began. I think through text messages, phone calls, hospital visits, dinners, you guys all really walked this walk with us, and we really appreciate it. Katie was actually born it's a week till her birthday, so we were not planning on this party coinciding with the March for Life. I don't think it was a coincidence, though. Life's going on right now around the country. And if you look at Katie's story, I mean, Katie really, I think, we all basically walked the March for Life to get her to where she is today. So thank you, really, from the bottom of our hearts. Dear Lord, thank you for life. Thank you for walking this journey with us. Sometimes we don't understand. We know you're always with us, Lord.
If I told you my story, you would hear hope that wouldn't let go. And if I told you my story, you would hear love that never gave up.